I see these things all the time, online, offline. So many parents are not aware that by doing these things, using these products, they are interfering with their child's development. I put together a list of about 10 things that you should avoid doing or using for better baby's development. Hey, I'm a mom of two, and I've learned all of this through my own experiences from pediatricians and other experts in development. And let's start with something really almost no one knows. You should avoid sippy cups. Most of them interfere with your child's oral development, which may lead to problems with speech. Your best option is a straw. Listen, I understand you need something that does not leak. Just to put a straw in a glass, not gonna work for a baby. There are straw sippy cups. I'll link my favorite one down below. It actually trains your baby's tongue and mouth in general, strengthens it, and helps mouth development, therefore speech development in the future as well. And talking about speech, you need to limit your screen time for better baby's development. My child was a little behind on speech, so I had to do a huge big research about how can I improve. So one of the surprising things for me was the fact that if you have TV on for yourself, often this makes you speak significantly less to your child, and it makes you less responsive and in general less present. But it's very crucial for your baby's speech development to talk to them, constantly speaking to them from birth. They absorb everything like a sponge. It's a process. You can't just start teaching them how to speak at one all of a sudden. So certainly limit your own screen time, and not just for speech, but also most of the babies will be interested just staring at the screen because they're fascinated by anything on TV. So that will mostly stop them from playing, exploring. This brings me to my next point. Babies from about 4 months of age need to spend most of their time on the floor. Not an activity center, not a play yard. This will give them room, opportunity, and the right accommodations to practice their very important skills and other development and exploring. One thing that I always advocate for, you really want your baby to crawl. Both of my babies started crawling later on. I did try lots of things to help them do that, especially with my first, but the most important thing, aside of all the massages and exercises, is the floor time. And yes, I did use like a little play yard before I got baby gates. Even when you do use a play yard, it has to be very limited, and your best bet is to baby proof a good big area, accommodate your home for your baby's development. So I've seen this tendency here in the US at least, that if your baby doesn't crawl, that's totally fine. They don't have to crawl. Even some pediatricians say that crawling is an extremely important skill because it actually helps with your baby's brain development. Wow, because it actually coordinates their right and left side of the brain. You want to make sure that your baby crawls by about 8 months of age, because after that they're gonna try to stand up more and they won't want to crawl, and you want your baby to crawl for like 3 to 4 months to get all that benefit. This is why also like play yards and keeping your baby too long in the crib and just restricting your baby's movement may help them to get up earlier, because you have all these rails available and there is no much space to explore. They get bored. Well, first of all, if they do get up early, it's dangerous for their joints, bones. Give them that space. You shouldn't push any milestones on them that they aren't ready for. Sitting them down. It's one of the most popular things I see parents do too early. Sitting your baby down in like a high chair or like that bumbo seat to feed them solids, because they're 6 months old now and you're supposed to feed them solids by 6 months. That's gonna be my whole other point. You see two things. Your baby doesn't have to know how to sit down on their own completely when starting solids. However, you also don't have to start solids just because your baby turned 6 months old. So my children were somewhere in between knowing how to sit and wanting to start solids, because that's the most important thing. Your baby needs to have that interest in foods. I did hold them on my lap in like half laying position, or I would lower their high chair, you know, a little bit of recline. I heard that bamboo seats aren't very good. There are some better alternatives called up seat, I think. I'll try to link it below, that also opens their legs wide enough and positions their spine in the right way, because like I said, baby's spine is just not ready to sit up, and it's going to be too much pressure and may cause problems in development if you do sit them up too early. And so talking about introducing solids, something you can avoid doing for your child's better development: don't introduce solids if your baby is not ready. If your baby does not have interest in foods, or even if you thought that your baby did have an interest, but when you start solids, they push the food out with their tongue, they get fussy, take a step back. That's the best thing you can do. Your baby can be 7 or 7.5 or sometimes even 8 months old when starting solids, especially if it's a smaller baby. And if you feel like you need more support or advice on solids to review your particular situation, I do coaching sessions one-on-one. Leave your email in the comments below and I'll shoot you back all the details. Coming back to their spine and their hips, which is also one of the most important things that your pediatrician checks every appointment. When you baby wear, you need to make sure that you're not hurting your child's development. Your baby needs to face you for a very long time. Your baby can start forward facing at least when they start sitting down on their own. Means that their body is ready and they develop that skill and their spine is ready for that kind of pressure. And yet, if it's possible, if your baby is still smaller and maybe can't feel content, it's better to keep carrying them facing toward you, because that's the best position where you can put their bottom down and keep their legs in M shape, where their knees are higher than their bottom. And hey, if you find this information important, of course, press a like, subscribe to my channel, and you can also support my channel by becoming a member. Just $1.99 a month for starter packet, and for a premium $3.99, where I'll do monthly lives where we can discuss all the topics and all of the questions you may have. Another thing is car seats. Basically, try to avoid letting your child sleep in the car seat all the time, or in like a bouncer or something like that. For me, bouncer was a savior. One of my babies slept in bouncer when they were sick. That's the only place they would sleep, and sleep is crucial, so you have to pick your battles sometimes. Limit the use of bouncers and car seats, as well as those activity centers. Check some recalls. There are so many walkers that have been recalled, also jumpers. One more thing about car seats: safety, which is maybe even more important than development, because you want the child to survive in case of a crash. We just need to remind ourselves that crashes happen all the time. When we're in the car, we are in a high risk situation, and your child has to be properly fastened in a car seat. I have a separate video about those popular mistakes, so check that one out. It's important. And besides that, a couple of random but important things. Pillows. For better development, you do not use any pillows with your child until age of 2 at least. There are times when you need to elevate your baby, or like a 1-year-old, when they have congestion at night. I did put like bigger pillows. Usually they would sleep in our bed at that point if they're really sick and they can't breathe well. You can put the bigger pillows that would elevate their body a little bit underneath your bed sheet. Then baby shoes and baby mitts. This is something that prevents babies from exploring and having the hand and mouth contact. You can use them sometimes, of course, sure, especially in the winter outside, but at home, for the most part, your baby has to have access to their hands, because it is crucial for development, as well as their feet if it's warm especially, and where is safe. Let them crawl and walk barefoot. When they even do start walking, make sure their shoes aren't tied, and for the most part they are barefoot. They do need to have the sensations in their skin and their feet. Grounding, you know, good for everyone. So give this video a like, and I will see you in this video.